All right. Hello, everyone. I'm going to do something a little bit different today because I wanted to show a little bit about the design process when I'm making a mold for my Mini Z's, the 127th. So as you can see, I start on the CAD software by placing a very rough Kyosho Mini Z chassis dimension. I'm trying today to do LMP3, LMP Le Mans type prototype car. So I'm not trying to copy the one that is on the screen. I'm trying to do something similar. And so I'm starting by the cockpit, which is going to be this kind of teardrop shape with a very rounded edge. And so this is, in my opinion, the easiest thing to do first. I don't have any other shape that is going to bother me for rounding the cockpit like I'm doing now. So I can have a really nice curve, and you'll see I'm keeping on the side of the screen what I'm looking at on Google and what I'm using for inspiration. I'm trying to do something similar to the 2019 prototypes, and I just want to copy line by line. I want to do my own little thing, and keep in mind as well that I need to be able to fit as many 128th, 127th chassis as possible. So it's going to be, the proportions are going to be quite different from what you see. First of all, the wheelbase, it's not the same. The chassis are quite bulky. You have all the electronics inside and so on. So right now I'm working on some very rough shape in the beginning, trying to get a feel for what the car's proportions are going to be like, how long is it going to be. So I placed the nose, which is going to be only in the middle of the car between the two front wheels. It's not going to go all the way across. And then at the back, I'm trying to place some kind of arrow shapes that are going to be once again only for half, kind of the center of the car, and then we'll have the wheel arches and the wheel covers, and the outside of the bodywork is going to be added to that. So I'm putting my curves, do a little check, see if I'm happy with the general thing, and then extrude and see how it goes. It's pretty sad to look at a design in progress. It's not the most pleasant thing because I have an idea. I have an idea of what I want. I have an idea of what I want, and I have a pretty good idea of how I'm gonna get there. Looking at it, I think it's looking a little bit like when my 4.5 years old draws a car for me. So hang on, keep taking a look. So here you'll see I'm making a mistake that luckily I can repair later. Is that I've made the curve bigger. The diameter of the curve is bigger than the actual width of the front end, and so it's not symmetrical. So luckily you'll see later on in the build that I repaired that. This is a pretty sorry mistake. It's something I did when I was doing the Formula E, and I could not rebuild the model without deleting so many steps, and so I ended up doing it by hand later on the mold. So this time luckily I saw it early enough. And so as you see now, I've placed a new plane on the edge of this centerpiece that I've done now. That looks like a sad sloth. And so on that, I'm going to be drawing what you would see on the white LMP car on the screen, which is the outside of the bodywork around the wheels, from the front to the back. And to the front, I'll do the curve that will include the front light as well. And so I gotta be careful that I keep something similar to what the car have when the front lights do not go above the nose that's sticking out like I'm doing now. So I'm going to correct that by placing it a little bit further back. And once again, I'm trying to think about the aero work. How is the downforce going to be? because for me, one of the very important thing of those bodies is that they look cool and they're fun and they're functional, but I want them to work well, which is having a high downforce on the track. So I'm trying to place as many curves, I mean, for sucking down the air, making sure there's going to be push and pull at the right place on the bodywork. And so now I'm extending what is going to be the side of the car above the wheel, and this is going to be symmetrical on the opposite side of the car. So the car still looks very comical. You can see the center line on the nose that is not centered, so that will be corrected later. This is the kind of thing when I'm just in creative mode. I don't, you know, I'm distracted. I'm thinking about so many different steps, and so that happens. It's fine. It's not a big deal. You just need to see it when it happens, and you know catch it in time. So now I'm placing what is going to be cuts from the side of the car. And originally I thought I was going to be doing an extrusion all along, and then looking back at the car on the picture, I can see that the center has a much more, like the black part, this is really more pushed inward, and the front of the wheel arch in the front around the lens, I suppose from looking at the white car, that is different. So now I'm going to do a little Google research to see what the front of the LMP3 look like, and they are really boxy, they're really square. I can't do something that vertical because I'm vacuum forming from the mold, so I need some kind of an angle. So I'll do a different profile that I'm gonna cut in the front and in the back, and then I'm gonna loft them together. You'll see the action that I'm going to use. So I'm placing the first curve that I want to cut from the front wheel, and then I'm gonna place a new plane at the back of the bodywork, and I'm gonna do a quick look on Google for what the back of those LMP3 look like. And so you see you have those kind of L shape pointing outward, and so it's very straight once again. So I'm gonna try to have this little L cut at the bottom. It's not gonna be as pronounced as it is in the real LMP, but I want it to be there. Most of the back of the car I already know that is going to be mainly sticker work, so I don't worry about detail and cuts. I want it completely flat, so I can cut any shape that I want later on once the body is vacuum formed. And so now I'm placing, you see that little L cut, and I'm going to create a loft now between the front curved and the back L shape, if I can call it an L shape. The groove slowly and slowly disappears from the front to the back. So that's going to be a pretty cool effect that I'm going to be able to keep. It's going to look a little bit more like when you look back at the white car, you can see the carbon chassis parts that are pretty pretty thick at the bottom of the car, and then you have the white bodywork. You can see between the wheel you have these black parts, and then you have the diffuser at the back. So this is good. It's going to be something that is going to match. And so now that I have that, I'm going to be able to work on that. You see next to the number 20 there is this deep groove, deep cut inside the bodywork where the driver's door would be. And so I'm going to do something here, basically do the profile shape, just a very rough profile shape that I'm going to extrude as a box in, and then I'm going to round whatever corners I want to round to have this kind of triangle effect. If you would look from the top of the white car, you would see that from the rear wheel this curves inwards to the cockpits later on. So the first actions that I'm going to do is to extrude that shape inside to have a cut. Now I'm discussing with myself, do I want to cut the carbon part at the bottom? And I do not want. I want to have this line all the way across that really looks like a straight edge like it does on the picture I found from Google. So now I'm going to extrude cut, and the back part of it, once I'm happy with the depth, I'm going to curve it. And so now I'm going to get this nice curve in that I can increase or decrease as I please. So you see at the moment it's very squarish. It's the edges are very, very hard, but the general shape is starting to show. So yeah, let's clear out the screen, get rid a little bit of all those planes that don't need anymore. And now it's going to be time to work on the symmetry. And then I will start to work on making curves. I don't want to do too many chamfers and so on too early on. I prefer to have, like if I was doing a sculpture, like a rougher, squarer shape in which I can come, once I have a general shape that I like, and I can come remove material and round whatever edge I want to round. So now I'm going to work on what the front of the car is going to look like around the front lights. And you see by mistake I didn't select all the lines over there, and I saw that this little curve went up, and I think that's really cool because it kind of follows this straight line that goes all the way from the back of the body to the front, which is not something you have on the white car, but I feel like this is going to be pretty cool, pretty special. So I make first my curve for the headlights, and then I need to work on making that nose look less terrible. So you've noticed that I still haven't seen at that point yet that I don't have symmetry in the front. So luckily I didn't do too many operations. I didn't do too many curves and chamfer. And so I've managed to save myself a lot of trouble. Or I managed to save myself not seeing it and having a crooked nose Stephen Wright car. So here, those little, so you see the car is have the feeling of this LMP car, but I just want to make something more generic, and then I can work on the liveries with stickers. I feel there is, Kyosho is really good at making exact replicas, and I know GL has a really nice Toyota one that they did as well, probably licensed. So I just want to make my own thing. For me, this is something I do. You see, I did a first like 30 minutes of design before dinner, and then I went to get some food, and then I came back later on. It's something that you can do in your spare time, and most of the time it's gonna end up in the bin because it looks terrible, and some of the time it's gonna look pretty awesome, and it's gonna become a mold, and then it's gonna become a car you can actually drive, or you can share with your friends, or you can sell online, or what have you. And so now I'm just working on curves basically, trying to get rid of all those really square angles, really straight edge that are a little bit everywhere. And so now the car is starting to take much more shape, and the character of the car is building up. So I feel if you've made good foundations with the basic primitive shapes that you created in the beginning, and that you left yourself enough space for creating curves and cutting material, then you just need to trust whatever vision you have in your head that it's going to come to life. And luckily for this one, I'm really pleased with the end result, and you'll see this project going all the way from that evening drawing to the 3D printed mold, and then I'll try to make an whole series of the entire process, from doing the CAD printing with the material I have. So as I explained last time, I only have the Up Mini and Up Mini 2, so small bed printers. I'll do a full series on that because I think it's might be cool and interesting for other people that either want to do CAD drawing, or want to design cars, or want to do what I'm doing, which is make their own mold for their own minis or bigger cars. And so now I'm doing this very flat aileron that is at the center of the car, this big center wing. And for something that vertical, I don't want something too thin, first of all, 'cause I'm gonna have to spray paint it. And you need to make sure on these kind of parts that you leave uh, an angle to be unmolded, because this is the kind of parts that will stuck your molds into the plastic once it's vacuum formed. So this being that tall, I put a smaller angle because I started it at the very base. But you see how much angle I put into it. So this is going to be out of the mold easily. Now it is clearly parts that might break. I have never done something that thin and that tall, so I do not know if this is going to be a part that easily breaks in the mold. If that's the case, then I'll have to think about doing this part separately. At the moment, I'm just crossing my fingers. I think there's no reason for it not to work if the angle is properly done. And I'm gonna beef it up a little bit with the part that I'm doing now, at least in the front. I'm doing this kind of little air scoop like you have on top of the white car over there. And so once again, basic shape, angled properly, and then I have all my chamfers. I'm rounding all my angles after that. So I'm starting by closing the back of the box, make the circular angle at the back. So I have this kind of forward shape, and then I'm gonna do the rounding of the top edges. And then I'll have to do the whole central wing thing. I don't know any technical terms, so it's a wing thing. I love cars. I love car racing. I don't know any proper terms, so forgive me and complain about it if you want in the comment section. I'll be glad to know more terms so I can sound a bit less stupid next time. All right, so here you go. I have my big center Batman wing. I'm now doing a little bit of chamfering at the bottom in order to have it. Now here you go, you see, I got greedy there. I got greedy there. Get rid of those curves. They're not going on the top of the scoop. Out. Out. We just need the yes. Yes. Good me. Good me. So those are gonna be, first of all, easier to sand and to clean up. And then is going to be a good strengthening part as well. And so I'm trying to do some curving all around the cockpit now in order to have all the shapes flow easier with each other and have something just a little bit more organic. You see there is less and less straight edges on the car. The back's still pretty straight. I got a couple of curves on the top near where the doors are. But other than that, the car is starting to take a little bit more shape now. Okay, I think I'm going to stop this for now and leave you on a pretty rough looking 3D model, because I think I've been babbling for far enough and everybody's probably asleep by now. So we'll see what I have now, and I'll let you criticize it and complain about it in my bad terms, and I will do the next part tomorrow where I finish these parts of the design as well as the spoiler at the back and the spoiler mounts left and right. Alright, so let's cut it now. It's 20 minutes, it's way too long. Everybody's asleep. Alright, everybody stay safe. Hope you enjoyed. I've seen a little bit more of the process of the designing the cat, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye bye.